Welcome to Economika. And today's video is about Adam Smith and economic liberalism. Adam Smith was a Scottish academic and philosopher. He was the founder of modern economics and the most important theorist of economic liberalism. He wrote one of the most important books for understanding economics. A book that originated the teaching of economics as an academic discipline apart from others. The book is the well-known The Wealth of Nations. The impact of Adam Smith, and especially the impact of his book on countries, was tremendous. The creation of the United States as we know it today, with an extremely open economy, was inspired by his ideas. In addition, the United Kingdom itself followed the principles of the book for centuries. Some ideas have become unquestionable today, such as private property and free trade. The Wealth of Nations was published in 1776, during the American War of Independence, 2 years before the French Revolution, and at a time of strengthening of the bourgeoisie and fragility of the mercantilist system, which was the dominant ideology at the time. In other words, Adam Smith lived in a world where people who cared about the economy had very different thoughts about it. The idea that prevailed at the time was mercantilism, whose characteristics are the favorable trade balance, which is when a country sells more products abroad than it buys, accumulation of precious metals, which at the time was very important, leading to the exploitation of gold in Americas, and making the colonizers of these territories very rich in the metrics of mercantilists. And colonialism, which ensured the consumer market for the products of the colonizers, since the colonized countries became dependent on the products of the metropolis. Adam Smith, against the common sense at the time, believed that the division of labor and the accumulation of capital was what added value to a country's economy. This meant that in order to get rich, countries no longer needed to invade another country, or find a gold mine, they just needed to produce more. They needed to improve their technology and educate the population to perform specific tasks. And to perform specific tasks, people had to migrate to cities, where, according to Smith, due to the higher number of people in a small area, each one could specialize in a task, unlike the rural area, where the same person needs to know how to perform various activities, since there is no one around. He exemplifies the power of specialization in production, using a pin factory as an example, where with 10 employees, each performing a different task, would produce 48,000 pins a day. While a single person who works alone would produce only 1 pin per day. This is an example of the power of manufacturing and the division of labor. Capital accumulation, on the other hand, was necessary so that it was possible to hire people to produce. These hired people would consume, making the economy work. Adam Smith also defended trade between countries in a radical way for his time. He said that this could cause some problems in the short term, but that the effort would be worth it in the long run, since each country would improve its productivity. The United Kingdom itself has not applied import tariffs for many decades, based on the Scots' ideas that the economy would specialize and improve its productivity. Another factor that encouraged trade at that time was the weakening of barter and the strengthening the use of money. Even in a primitive way, money already facilitated the trade and was much better than the exchange of one product for another. Now, people were paid in cash. The baker no longer needed to exchange bread for meat with the butcher. He could just take the money he received from selling bread and buy the meat from the butcher. The famous expression, invisible hand, in fact, was mentioned only 3 times by Smith, and referred to the fact that the market had a natural interference in the economy, which made it more efficient. Adam Smith believed that self-interest was what led man to carry out his activities, and that if each person did what was in their own interest, society as a whole would have a gain. As you can see, it was another Adam Smith's controversial idea, who organizes society to produce in an extremely efficient way, but which in the process presents some problems in the social field. Despite being one of the founders of economic liberalism, he did not believe that the private sector would take care of everything. He believed that the state should provide security, education and other functions that were not profitable for the private sector. Adam Smith advocated a small and efficient state in what it did. He also strongly attacked the privileges of his time, especially the nobles who were wealthy without producing. But in any case, all government officials would lose power with the strengthening of the market economy and democracy, which in fact happened. Economic liberalism may have led to some social problems, such as the lacking of the sense of belonging to a community. Since people have moved to cities, and now everyone works in a very specific activity, at a point where not even workers from the same company can identify themselves at their work. Liberalism also leads society to move quickly, with businesses opening, closing and transforming all the time. which can leave some people behind in this process and cause upheavals in society. In addition, some argue that it can reward success excessively, favoring capital accumulation in the hands of few people. In any case, there is no ideal model of society, nor of economics. Since at the same time liberalism has given the individual choices he never had before. Despite its flaws, economic and political liberalism proved to be a very capable instrument to diminish the power of the state to become abusive. Furthermore, at least in theory, the state also became the provider of the individual's freedom. By promoting universal education, which made it possible for individuals to make their decisions by themselves. Unlike what happened before, when because you were born in a poor family, you would be sure that you would die poor. Phrases like, "It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own self-interest." It may seem harsh and insensitive, but it has lifted billions of people out of poverty throughout history. And provided us immense technological advances over the centuries. Many of Adam Smith's ideas are now common sense, when we think about how to conduct our lives in the economy of a country. Hardly anyone today is trying to produce everything it consumes. People simply exchange their work, or the income from their capital for the products and services they want. You probably don't even know how to start farming what you eat. Or how to make your computer or cell phone. So, we can say that Adam Smith's ideas were indeed victorious and are dominant today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If it was useful for you, hit the thumbs up button. And subscribe to the channel. See you next time.